What is going on, world? What's up, Twitch? What's up, YouTube? It's Zero here. Today, guys, I'm bringing you another episode of the Gears Cast. Welcome, everyone, to the Gears Cast, the best Gears of War podcast here on YouTube. If you guys are watching this live on Twitch, the best Gears of War podcast on Twitch. And I'm super excited about our episode here today. We have a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's get into it. I want to say and just welcome everybody to the Gears Cast. If you guys are watching live on Twitch, welcome everybody. I see Rustling's in here. What's up, Rustling? Always coming back for more. Absolutely love it. MD Ultra, what's up, brother? Appreciate you being here in the chat room. I want to just say really quick, quick shout out, Sean. Appreciate you following the channel. MD Ultra, appreciate you as well, man, for following the Twitch channel. Appreciate you guys in a massive way. And I want to just say, guys, really quick, I appreciate you guys, all of the new subscribers, all the new followers. Thank you so much, guys. It is absolutely awesome. We're getting we're growing every single day, and it's because of each and every one of you. And so just want to give all of you a quick shout out, because it's because of you guys that this is starting to become something pretty special, and it's something that I'm really excited to continue for all of you. Today's episode of the Gears Cast is going to be an interesting one, because today, guys, we're going to be talking specifically about a number of things, but we're going to be talking about the Coalition, and we're going to be talking about some of the things within, of course, the world, the entire world of Gears of War as a whole, but some topics in particular that definitely jumped to the forefront of what I think that being of importance when it comes to this thing. So super excited about this episode of the Gears Cast, guys. I want to just jump right into it. Once again, if you guys are just joining us here on Twitch, welcome, guys, to the Gears Cast. Let's get started. I'm going to give a message to the Coalition. We'll be doing that here shortly in the show. I wanted to start, though, today talking about, we've been talking a ton, guys, on the YouTube channel about Gears of War 6, the Gears of War collection. We've been talking a lot about those things, but there's something that I really want to talk about in this first segment of the show that has to do with Gears 6, but it has to do with the title. So here's what I'm getting at. Gears of War, when it first started as a franchise, the title was Gears of War, and then we got Gears of War 2, and then we got Gears of War 3, and then, of course, Gears of War Judgment, to the Gears of War Ultimate Edition, to Gears of War 4, and now we have Gears 5, and now, obviously, the speculation is that the next title in the franchise is going to be Gears 6, not Gears of War 6. I want to talk about this because, it's really interesting to me that how we got to this point, that being the transition from Gears of War to Gears. It's really interesting. So I definitely want to talk about that in this first segment of the show. So let's get into it. How did we get to where we are right here, right now? And I'm not talking, guys, about the necessarily the history of Gears of War, but I'm talking more the history of the title, that being the actual name itself, and how did this transition happen, and what can we kind of expect moving forward, now moving into Gears 6 or Gears of War 6, the Gears of War collection, or the Gears collection, right? Or, of course, what some people think it to be the Marcus Phoenix collection. So let's talk about that. This next upcoming title in the Gears of War franchise, I've said it many times, that obviously I would love to see a Gears of War collection, but I think what's the most important thing is none other than Gears 6 or Gears of War 6. And I've said that a number of times, guys, for a number of reasons, because number one being that Gears 6 is the future of the franchise, whereas the Gears of War collection is going to be more so kind of reminiscing in the past. It's going to be us kind of, obviously going back into the past, these great titles that we all fell in love with, right? That being Gears 1, 2, 3. But it's not so much moving the franchise forward. And so I always thought that the Gears of War collection would be a great bridge title between Gears 5 to Gears 6. It would kind of help bridge that gap. That being said, though, in terms of, Gears 6, I always felt that was the most important thing for the franchise moving forward, because that's going to obviously give us that, it's going to kind of give us that timeline forward, or not even so much the timeline, it's going to more so give us the future of the franchise, right? I would love to have both. There's no doubt about it. I'd love to have a Gears of War collection as well as Gears 6, but I think that Gears 6 is definitely more important at this point in time. So with that, how did we get to, Gears 5 being the title? Why wasn't it called Gears of War 5? And, it's interesting because Rod Ferguson, who was the studio head at the Coalition at the time, was responsible for, of course, Gears of War 4, Gears 5, being the studio head. I thought that overall he did a really good job, but there were some things that were a little bit questionable without question. And I feel like one of them was changing the name of Gears of War altogether to, Gears instead of Gears of War. It started as Gears of War. So why did they change it? And, Rod Ferguson had some interesting interviews talking about this, his reasoning for changing it from Gears of War to Gears. One of the things I remember him speaking on was that the community calls it Gears. The community doesn't call it Gears of War as much. And this reasoning, I didn't really agree with it, and I still don't to this day. Here's why. Gears of War was the name from the very beginning. I think of another franchise that I absolutely love, that being Call of Duty, right? A lot of people in the Call of Duty universe and ecosystem call Call of Duty COD. We don't necessarily, we'll call it Call of Duty every once in a while, but a lot of people call it COD, right? But that doesn't mean that you're going to call the actual official title for the next Call of Duty COD Modern Warfare 2. No, it's going to be Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, right? So why did we change the title from Gears of War to Gears when it comes to the official title? We can still call it Gears, right? But why did they change that? And so I think that where it was a mistake. And I'm not saying, guys, that the failure of Gears 5, even though when we look at it in terms of Gears of War as a whole, we're like, yeah, it was a failure, like just from a multitude of perspectives. Even though I loved Gears 5, I thought it was great. I still think it's great, even though it's not going to be supported anymore. Gears esports has shut down at this point in time. I still love Gears 5. I think it's great, but I do believe that it should have been called Gears of War 5. It should not have been called Gears 5. And, that's just my opinion. I just think that there's so much history with the Gears of War universe that to change the game, the title from Gears of War to Gears, was a massive disservice. And I don't really understand the full reasoning. And I would love to hear more from the Coalition about this, or as to what they're planning on doing in the future. Because we're all assuming that Gears 6 is going to be, the official title is going to be called Gears 6. It's not going to be called Gears of War 6. But I'm going to, just say this right here, right now on the Gears cast, that Gears 6 should be called Gears of War 6. It should not be called Gears 6. Now, Rod Ferguson, the studio head at the Coalition, had also mentioned that he confirmed Gears 6, Gears 7, as well as a Gears of War movie. And that was before he, of course, left the Coalition to move over to Diablo, as their, which, was one of those ordeals, right? We lost Cliffy B, we lost Rod Ferguson, and now we're kind of in this limbo state, right? Now, does them saying, or them calling it Gear 6 make the game already, kind of put it into a bad position? No, because the game is going to speak for itself. If the game is really good, it doesn't matter what the title is. It doesn't. I just think that, to me at least, it's kind of taking an identity away from the title, right? It's almost like, another comparison, we brought up Call of Duty and COD and such, but let's talk about it from let's talk about like from a professional sport. Let's say the NBA, okay, the National Basketball Association. Let's just say they decided, we're going to change the name from the National Basketball Association to the Basketball Association, just to make it short, make it like easier. It's not going to be national anymore. It's just going to be the Basketball Association. I feel like it's taking an identity away from what it is, right? It's taking away, like, yeah, we all know that it's basketball, right? But the NBA is what we all call it, but the National Basketball Association, I mean, you're taking away an identity completely, in my personal opinion, if you were just to call it the Basketball Association, right? So, and a lot of people do call it the association and such, and there's nothing wrong with that, but like if they change the name to just the association, not to the NBA or the National Basketball Association, it's such a disservice to the history of what was built there. And that's why I feel that Gears 6 should not be called Gears 6. It should be called Gears of War 6 because of the history that was built in Gears of War all these years. So my call to the coalition is to truly think about calling the next Gears of War iteration Gears of War, not Gears. We'll call it Gears for short because that's what it is. We're all Gears, right? We're all a part of this thing. Gears fam, like we're a part of this thing. But don't call the title Gears. Call it Gears of War. That's my opinion, and that's one man's thoughts, guys. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts about it in the comment section down below. Let me know what you guys think. I think it's something that we should definitely have that as a conversation, especially when we haven't gotten the official announcement of Gear 6 at this current juncture in time. We haven't got an announcement of it. We haven't got an announcement of the Gears of War collection either. And matter of fact, going to Gears, the Gears of War collection, it should be called the Gears of War collection, not the Gears collection. I just think for the sake of, and I think that, some of this has to maybe do with other titles out there like God of War. So GOW, similar to Gears of War, God of War has their thing. And so maybe they were thinking, well, we're just going to try to make this, instead of it being Gears of War, and then there's like God of War, maybe we're just going to call it Gears. There was probably some of that, maybe that was, behind the scenes, they decided to call it Gears for that as well. But like, let God of War do that. Like, don't be the ones that kind of change that whole narrative and such. I just think that Gears of War is Gears of War, okay? It's been around for a long time, and it should not be something that is just changed from a title perspective. That being said, when we talk about like from a gameplay perspective, from campaign, all of that, the game is going to speak for itself. The title doesn't have anything to do with it. But I just think that I wanted to bring that up in this segment of the show because I think it's important that we have that discussion while we're waiting for the announcement for the next Gears of War title. But once again, guys, let me know in the comment section down below what you guys all think about that. I would love to hear your thoughts about it in the comment section down below. And for more Gears 6 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. I think that the Gears esports major, this last major, at least for the foreseeable future, had some things that I have never experienced in gaming, like in gaming history. Like it just, what I experienced from the Gears major was something so special because the emotions behind it, the excitement, I mean, it was a great tournament, by the way. Even though a lot of, I really wish that we would have seen a lot of these other, teams not have ended, necessarily, that being like Optic and some of these other teams that didn't participate in the last Gears major. I would have loved to see that, but there were so many unbelievable moments in the final Gears major. And so I want to talk about that because there was something about it that was so powerful to me. It was about, and it was more so at the end of the tournament, but it was something as powerful as anything I have ever seen in esports in general or in Gears of War up to this current juncture in time. And guys, I've been playing Gears of War for a long time. When I got my original Xbox 360, I worked an entire summer to get that Xbox 360. And when I purchased it, the game that came with the 360 was Gears of War. Knew nothing of it, of course, and you know, it was the first title. And started playing it and fell in love. And all of these years later, I've dedicated my YouTube channel to Gears of War. You know, I've played a lot of games, guys. I've created content around a ton of different titles, but there's something very special to be said about Gears of War, without question. And so the very end of the Gears esports tournament was just so special to me. The emotions, like I said, the crazy hype, the crazy moments, it just was unlike anything I've ever seen. And I will tell you guys this, watching, like while we were watching the end of this thing that we love, and I love Gears esports, guys. And I've said this in the past, you know, before, you know, in previous episodes of the Gears cast, I've talked about, you know, that Gears esports, I feel that we all took it for granted, and myself included. So I'm not like saying that you know, there was never a moment in time I didn't take it for granted. I did take it for granted. You know, it's kind of one of those things like, oh, maybe Gears esports will always be around. And so you sometimes take those things for granted. I will never take it for granted ever again. You know, when Gears 6 returns, Gears War Collection, whatever it may be, I will never take it for granted. I can promise you that. There are people in the community that never took it for granted. Those were people like Colin the Crow Clark, an unbelievable caster. I truly believe he never took a moment for granted in Gears of War's history, and being able to cast at the highest level of Gears of War, Gears esports in general. Like, he never took any time that he was on screen for granted. And you could just tell with his passion, everything else that he had for Gears of War, and even moving forward into the future of this thing. So it was unbelievable, like the power I saw, not just from like the casters, the stream itself, but from the community at large. Everybody coming together to, you know, be a part of the last Gears major, at least for the foreseeable future. Who knows? I mean, maybe it'll never come back. I mean, I believe that it's going to come back, guys. I refuse to believe that it will not return. In my mind, it will return. But, you know, guys, as I said, it was the Gears esports, the ending was as powerful as anything I've ever seen in esports, because the community came together, Gears fam came together, the casters were so passionate, the games were so incredible. You could tell so much was on the line there for legacy and all those things moving into the future of Gears of War, even though the future is uncertain. Let me know what you guys thought about the ending of Gears esports as we know it, at least for the foreseeable future. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And for more Gears esports content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. So Gears esports, they tweeted, and it's interesting. I should have screenshotted this because now I'm looking at this and yeah, it's not here anymore. But they tweeted essentially, guys, saying thank you for all the support that the Gears fam has shown over the years to their partners, things of that nature. They said, this isn't goodbye, it's see you later. They said that. And I think that is really interesting that they took that down. For whatever reason, that's what they did. But what I wanted to bring up, though, even though that's what they said that it isn't goodbye, it's see you later. In terms of like what I'm getting at here is that Gears of War, guys, I mean, Gears esports is way too great to like just allow for this to, I mean, it's such an incredible esport to say that it's never going to come back. It's like ludicrous that they would never bring back Gears esports. Now, I'm sure they have future plans and such, but interesting stuff here that they posted on the Gears.gg page. Gears esports and the coalition, they put up this, guys, saying Sunday, June 26th, saw the final match of the Gears esports program as Rise beat Pittsburgh Knights in yet another fantastic showcase from the best Gears players in the world. With some incredible moments, maps, and matches throughout the weekend, it was a fitting way to end the program. From everyone at the Coalition, we want to thank the teams at UMG, TV Azteca, PGL, EGL, Logitech, and our other partners who have supported us since the launch of Gears 5. Without them, we simply wouldn't have been able to manage a program of this scale, especially throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. Over the course of the next few weeks, we will be deactivating the Gears Esports Twitter and Gears.gg site as we wrap up the program, but the photos from our events will live on to keep the memories alive. In order to get the latest news and updates from us, make sure to stay connected to the official channels of Gears of War on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Finally, and most importantly, we want to say a massive and sincere thank you to the Gears fam for all the support you have shown us throughout the last few years. You, our players and community, are the most important part of our franchise, and we're looking forward to sharing our future plans with you. So, the big thing here is, number one, why are they deactivating the Gears Esports Twitter? I mean, just leave it up until, like, you know, unless you're never planning on bringing Gears Esports back, leave it up. Like, I think that's a piece of history. Like, I don't understand why they're going to be deactivating that. And even I can understand a little bit more the website than I can the Twitter. It doesn't make any sense to me. Why are you going to deactivate it? What I think is really important, though, guys, is they say you, our players and community, are the most important part of our franchise, and we're looking forward to sharing our future plans with you. It's going to be interesting to see what the future plans are, because, you know, what would a Gears of War title be without esports? I can't envision them making another Gears title without the plans of having esports some way, shape, or form. I mean, it's like Halo Infinite coming out and they're not planning on bringing back the HCS. They're just planning on having it, you know, just be another game, and it doesn't have any esports backing or anything of that nature. Esports really helps push games forward, in my personal opinion. And so I don't like a couple of things that the Coalition are doing here. Maybe there's a method to this, a reason for this, but it doesn't make a lot of sense to me unless they're not planning on bringing back Gears Esports, which I think would be, you know, like, it would be such a disservice to the franchise if you're going to bring out Gears of War 6 without esports attached to that. This is, in my personal opinion, the best third-person shooter esport in the world. Now, people will argue games like, you know, Fortnite, PUBG, because you can go third-person, obviously. I mean, you may argue other games, but like Gears esports, there's nothing like it. It's like the WWE of esports. And for them to not bring it back in some capacity or another would be such a disservice to the franchise, in my personal opinion. So I want to go back to a tweet that they had put out, even though it was deleted now. They said that this isn't goodbye, it's see you later, which is coming from Gears Esports. Okay. So just remember that, guys, that they said that before it was taken down. Now, I don't know who took it down, over whomever it was over at the Coalition or whatever the case may be. Whoever was running the Gears Esports account at that time. But all I will say is I do believe that Gears Esports will return with Gears 6, for sure. And if it didn't, I think it's up to us as the community. Like, I've stated this, it's up to us now to really push Gears of War and keep this as a relevant ordeal until Gears of War 6 or the Gears of War collection comes out. So we've really got to do our part from that perspective. But when Gear 6 comes out, if it doesn't have an esports scene plan at the beginning, we've really got to voice our opinion to the coalition about that. It is so important to have esports attached to Gears of War, in my opinion, from a history perspective, like where we've come. This is a very competitive title. It needs to continue moving forward. I just think you have to have a strategic way in order to, whether it's scaling back on certain things with the esports to kind of make it more of a sustainable ecosystem. So, and that may even have to come down to like the players not getting paid quite as much and things of that nature. But as long as we can keep it sustainable and grow it, I think it's a consistent growth. That's what's going to help us in the future. But I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts about this in the comment section down below. What do you guys take from what the coalition is saying here in terms of the Gears esports scene? Let me know. And for more Gears esports content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. We need to do our part. GameSpot put out the rumor of Gears Collection. Gamescom is coming. What if we get a little tease, maybe ahead of myself, but I do want this timeline to happen. It's a great question, man. In terms of Gamescom, I gotta say that I don't think we're going to see anything in terms of Gears 6 or the Gears of War collection at Gamescom. I think that where we're going to see the announcement of the next Gears of War title is going to be at an Xbox event. So like the Xbox Game Showcase of 2022 or 2023 at this point, or one of their events, I think is where we're going to see the next announcement. Because it's an Xbox exclusive, it just makes sense for them to kind of do it on their end. And I think like games like Fable and other, titles that are owned by Xbox as Xbox exclusive titles, they're going to want to do it in their way from a marketing perspective and all of that. They're going to want to get the hype built on their end, not really from, Gamescom and such. Like if Gears 6 or the Gears of War collection was already announced, say like a year or so ago, maybe they would have put, some kind of gameplay teaser or something and showed it at Gamescom. I could see something like that. I can't see it though being an actual announcement. So I think that even though I would love to see the Gears of War collection or Gears of War 6 for that matter announced at Gamescom, I think where we're going to have to wait is for 2023 now. 2023 is kind of like when we're probably going to see the next iteration of what the future of Gears of War is, most likely. And there's probably a number of other games we're going to be hearing about as well at the next Xbox Game Showcase as well. Those would be games like, Fable, games like Perfect Dark, what else? State of Decay 3. There's probably just a number of games that we're going to be hearing more and more about as time goes. But I think the big announcement for Gears of War's collection or Gears of War 6 is going to be in 2023. And I was wrong about that, at first. I mean, I thought it would probably get announced here in 2022, but it didn't. Xbox their studios and such are growing at such a rapid rate that they've got so many games. It's crazy. Their library is so massive at this point. So maybe it'll be something that's like on their own. Like the coalition does like a live stream and they show it themselves instead of trying to kind of fit it into the already very packed schedule of Xbox Game Showcase. I don't know. It's interesting. We'll have to kind of wait and see on that. But I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts about that. Do you think that Gears 6, Gears Wars collection, or something Gears of War would get announced at Gamescom? It's a great question. What do you guys think about it? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Gears of War content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. Of Gears esports, and I said this and alluded to this earlier in the show, was as powerful of an ending to an esport as I have ever seen in my life. It was powerful, and I'm going to tell you guys this. I want to send a message out to all these guys. You got Franchise, you got, Fallout, The Crow, Guy Blaze. All these guys, right? Ryan, Reflections, a very special ending to Gears of War. I want to turn the volume on this and just kind of react to this with all of you guys, because I think it was so good.
Again, people have heard me say it enough. Without Gears, the man in front of you wouldn't be alive. I went through some really, really messed up times in my life, and Gears is what got me through it. And being a fan was the most important thing in the world to me, because I got to cheer on these two guys. My favorite player in history franchises, Coach Ryan. It meant everything in the world to me, and I never thought I'd get picked to be a caster alongside the likes of Blaze, Taylor one day, John, of course, right in front of me. I can't even look at the camera because I love you guys so much. Gears fan means everything in the world to me, and no matter whether it's today, tomorrow, or the last day of my life, the gears don't stop turning, and I'll be that gear. I'll still pick up that Lancer, and I'll rev that bad boy up anytime you ask me to. I promise you that, fam. I love you guys. I don't know who wants to be next. I'm sorry that I had to go first to start crying my eyes out. Taylor, how about you come up here and take the microphone?
Man, you know, it's an emotional ending, right? Gears
Just
it gave
passion.
me a new home, and this company gave me a home in general, just UMG, and it breaks my heart to see it at least end for now. These guys are absolutely amazing. I mean that, absolutely amazing. You and Chad have been absolutely amazing. The pros have been wonderful. Even if they give me a hard time, you guys are all wonderful out there. And Vexies, I do apologize for the All-Star thing. I know you were disappointed with my team, and I mean that, I really do. The way that I cope with things is I try to be funny. I'm really trying not to cry, but I love every single one of you guys, and this is, you know, my final show at the studio too, so a lot of things are ending. I love all of you. I really love all of you, every single one of you, and just stay strong, man. We're going to be back. I don't know when, but I really do love you guys, and I'm going to pass it over to Blaze.
Oh my God. Oh man, what a day it's been, man. You know, I met a lot of my best friends playing this game, okay? And, you know,
Gears of War
we
and
went
Gears
through
fam
a
are unlike
lot,
anything
all right? Just traveling around the
in
world
esports,
together. Going
period.
through
We've been through
Meadowlands,
so much.
Dallas, multiple events, us as kids.
It's not
and,
over,
you know,
guys.
running the town.
It's not over.
And we're doing everything that we could to just be the best out there, okay? And it was a different time 16 years ago when we started playing, okay? People didn't believe in us when it came down to this esports world. They said, stop playing video games, stop doing it, you know, go do something else. And we said, nah, we're going to stick it out, okay? This is fun. This is family. Gears fam was birthed from that, okay? Because we said we'll put on our own events because we wanted to be together. We wanted to play. We wanted to have fun. We wanted to it was about love, bro. It was about love out there. And this game has given us so much. So much it has given us throughout the years. And when we think it can't give us no more, it just keeps saying, hey, here you go again, okay? Take these moments around the world. Take some more family. Take these more amazing moments. I found family and love in this game, okay? And I'm so 16 years. I was 16 when I played this. I'm 32 next week, okay? Half my life. I got to give a shout out to
Ryan's
the fans
speech,
out there,
guys,
okay? 'Cause
was
y'all helped
really
put us
good as
here in this
well.
position. Okay, always
He had
believing,
like such a
always
great
showing up
speech. I'll have to
because
react to
y'all
it
love
sometime
Gears
for
of
you
War.
guys for sure, because
Okay,
I thought it was
and that's what it was
powerful.
about. And you know, as we go forward, you know, one thing about us is that we don't go out on anyone else's terms but our own at the end of the day. Okay, one more year. It doesn't matter, okay, because we're gonna always be together at the end of the day, supporting each other, doing what we love, not forming to the standards of other people, okay, carving out our own paths. All right, much love to Vexies as an MVP. I got to give that man a lot of love because he carved his own path. All right, never giving up, never caring what people said, locking it in, doing what you got to do to become a champion. That's the story. That's what it's all about. That's why we were here, okay? And for each other. I thank you all out there for showing up. I thank you all for coming out to support us, for traveling, for shutting up the hate. I thank the haters, okay? Because without y'all views, okay? Shoot. We were going to do it regardless, though, okay? One of the longest esports to ever live, one of the greatest esports
It's
to
not
ever
over.
be. It's Gears, baby.
But we
Okay?
have to
We
be
love y'all. We thank
the
y'all.
change we
We
want to
thank
see in the
game
world,
for so much
guys.
it's
We
given
have to
everyone
be
who's
the
ever
voice
put a
for this
hand into
thing moving
making it,
forward.
anyone who's ever put a hand to putting on these events, okay? You changed so many people's lives. I cannot stress that enough. So many young men and women's lives, giving them something to play for, giving them a family, giving them the opportunity to travel the world and see so many things that they never could. Get me out the hood. Do what we can. We got a career in this now, and we are family, okay? Never forget that, all right? It's Gears fam all day, every day, baby.
Long live Gears of War. And, you know, you all saw me probably get a little emotional right there. I'm going to try to hold it together because I'm the host of this show. That's my job. I got to keep things together a little bit, got to keep things moving. But it's hard not to, right? There's something about this game. There's something about Gears of War, the characters, the story that has led to this. I mean, tell me what other esport has gone through and endured what we have and has led to this moment, moments like these. None other. The diversity of the cast, the diversity of our community, and my final words are 100% a tribute to you, Gears family. We coined that term many years back, Gears family. There's one person in particular before I go into our
Special
Gears family
community.
that we have not thanked yet. I think
There's some special
one of the most
people
pivotal
up there,
people,
guys.
important people to thank. And that person is Ryan Summers. Again, major round of applause here in the studio. Blow it up in the chat, please, for Ryan Fools, Ryan Snaps, Ryan Summers, once an absolute goon of a community member. Let me tell you, this guy has transformed himself from bringing the vibes at all times to being our fearless leader alongside Jose Mavo franchise, retiring and supporting goalie and this UMG staff who you have no idea how hard they work. You have no idea. And big thank you to Ryan in particular. And, of course, back to you, every single one of you in the chat right now. I have so much love, and we here have so much love for every one of you, our Gears family. And that term means so much, and it means so much more than any other community. From way back early in the Gears family days of MLG Meadowlands in 2006, 2007, High Council on Game Battles, TDN the Third, XAOD, X-Nick, and everyone else competing early on, Immortal Spawn. We all showed up in a garage. Didn't know who anyone else was because nothing existed. No Twitter
People
back
saying
then.
like,
we're all looking around wondering who's
don't
who in the
be
zoo.
sad that it's over.
Pizza
Be
nights,
happy,
late-night
be
hotel
glad that
nights
it
in
happened.
MLG
And I
Dallas
agree.
to MLG Chicago to MLG
Like,
Orlando and
the fact that
everywhere in
it
between. Again,
happened,
big
you know,
thank
and
you
all
to
that
MLG,
is so
Sepso,
awesome.
and
But
Sundance and Adam and
I want
know
it
Ryan
back
did that tribute very,
right
very
now.
well to our last MLG event, the end of an era where we thought it was it. That was it. It was over for Gears of War. We had a conga line. That's the joke earlier. Blaze remembers the conga line. Ryan was there. Fran was there. You can find it on YouTube. Hastro actually recorded it of Optic Gaming and Team Envy. And we ran around like absolute ruckus fools around the venue, disrupting the Halo Grand Finals, screaming, one more year, one more year. And you could hear us in the background of those finals. And that's when Hastro in the video literally said, well, they just secured themselves not one more year after acting like that. But that's what we did anyways, because we're Gears family till we die. To then a little bit of a lull, right? And then, you know, there's online tournaments here and there. Franchise was still competing. God knows why, because he never stopped competing. Let's just be honest here. And then this thing called Gears of War 3 came out. We had a lot of hype. And that's where Gears family continued. And, you know, Ryan did such a good job and such a good tribute. But our Gears family there, Berger and Barbosa and everybody who made, and CDN, everyone who made Hypestation a thing to try and showcase what Gears family, what Gears is all about. And that continued into, you know, earlier on where, you know, people like Bobby Rice and Eternity and others as part of the Gears family. Kat entered the Gears family and joined our family in this time and Hypestation later events. The Coalition picks up Gears, and our family expanded quite a bit. We went from, you know, 1,000, 2,000 people on a Twitch stream at Hypestation events to 65,000 people watching Gears Esports, and Gears Esports was reborn, and our family grew. But every single person, every single one of you who have had an impact, who have been a part of this family since the very beginning, you are a member of this family, of this Gears fam. My man Evan, Snako Combat right here, Jack Felling, everyone that made these dreams possible for these kids. This white boy from the suburbs of Chicago who had a chance to meet his first teammate, Castle Keep, from the Bronx, New York, and exposed me to a different culture, different people of different walks of life that I never would have been exposed to. That's what Gears of War is all about. The most diverse, the most authentic, the most hype, the most passionate people, and the most passionate community. And that's the Gears family. To every single one of you that are watching right now, a sincere and heartfelt thank you for supporting Gears Esports, whether it was over the last year or 5 years of this current era, or Gears Ultimate Edition, and the EU Open and PAX East Finals, Chidori Wolf, and everyone that showed up to all those events, to those that were there way back when. Anyone that's been a part of this family from any point, you're a part of this family forever. And we know this is not the end. We know the Gears community will rally, and a big thank you to everyone out there that's going to continue to support. We better see you at whatever's next for Gears, whatever community event, grassroots tournament. We're going to come back louder than
tough
ever,
one,
ladies
boys.
and gentlemen,
For
for
sure.
the last time. For the last time. That's right. For the last time in this modern Gears Esports era, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed the show. Congratulations to Rise and all of our players who have entertained for so long. And thank you so much, again, for being a part of our family. Until next time, everybody, good night.
I'm going to stop it right there. I've got a message for these guys. And a message to the coalition. This team shows you the passion of Gears fam. Like, it just shows you the passion behind the Gears of War community and such. I tweeted this out, guys, after like the event and all of that. I tweeted out that it's up to us now to push this thing forward. And I'm going to do everything I can in my power to push this thing forward. So, as an example, we're creating content every day on the YouTube channel. That's not stopping. We're going to continue pushing Gears of War content every single day. I'm going to play this video on a loop consistently because it motivates me so much to move this scene forward, to do whatever it takes for us to move this thing forward so we don't ever have to do this again where we're saying goodbye for now. Franchise, I'm going to do whatever it takes, man, so that this never happens again, so we can push this thing forward. Same thing to you, Ryan. I appreciate you, man. Everything that you've done for the community has been absolutely incredible. Reflections, you're awesome, dude. Just you do such a good job of explaining things, and from a gameplay perspective, all of those things, absolutely incredible. Guy Blaze, your energy is unlike anything, and just like your excitement, your positivity is something that's infectious to everybody else in the Gears of War community. Fallout, I mean, I know you're working with, on commentating with other games and things of that nature, but your roots have been in Gears, and it's been something that's been really special. You're an incredible host. Awesome. I promise I'm going to do whatever it takes for this thing to come back. I'm going to do my part. We're all going to have to do our part. It's up to us now to push this thing forward. And lastly, Colin, you are Gears of War. In my mind, absolutely, you are Gears of War. You are the it feels like the foundation of Gears fam as a whole. One of those founding fathers, one of those people that really have been the staple of the Gears of War esports scene from a competitive perspective, but just you're the voice of Gears of War as a whole. So I take it very personally that Gears of War is in the current state that it's in, and I am going to do whatever it takes for us to bring this thing back in a massive way. I'm very excited for the future, guys. But lastly, to the coalition, all of these individuals that were a part of this final major for Gears Esports for the foreseeable future are the essence of what Gears of War is all about and what Gears Esports is all about, Gears of War as a franchise is all about. It is very important that this comes back with the next iteration of Gears of War. I don't know if that's the plan currently or what the case may be, but it is a call to all of you that are from the coalition to please bring back Gears Esports. And let's bring it back, but in a smart way where there's communication between the coalition, the community, all parties that are involved, sponsors, all of those things, so that there's a clear-cut vision, not only of how it's going to work when it comes back, but how it can be sustainable for the very long term. So my promise to all of you guys out there, but also my promise to, these guys on screen, all of these guys who've made a huge impact in the Gears of War community, as well as to Gears of War as a franchise, is I'm going to do my part. I'm going to create content every single day. I'm going to do whatever it takes, guys, to bring this thing back. But I need we all have to be a part of this. If we want this to come back, it takes more than one person. It takes a community. It takes an entire franchise of people to put this thing together, but also to move it forward in a sustainable way. And so I'm going to do my part and pledge to do my part. It's really important that all of us out there do the same. Whether you create content or you like to absorb and consume content, it's important that you support your favorite content creators, your favorite streamers within the Gears of War space. It's very important, guys, because that is going to help move this thing forward. It may move the needle very slowly, but as long every person matters when it comes to this thing and growing this thing. So that's what we got to do moving forward. But massive thank you to all of you guys out there. Massive thank you to all of these guys, what they did for Gears Esports. Let's bring this thing back, whatever it takes. Whatever it takes, guys. Let's bring it back. I want to talk about the Gears of War collection versus the Gears collection versus the Marcus Phoenix collection. So let's talk about that. So a lot of people have been talking in the community that there's been a lot of rumor, speculation that the Gears of War collection doesn't exist, that there's no such thing as the Gears of War collection or the Gears collection. Then there's others that are saying that it is real, that it is coming. So we're getting some conflicting reports, let's put it that way. And what's interesting is that there's talk that the coalition's working on it, but then there's also talk that some other third party's working on it, that the coalition is not working on it. At first, I was a little bit skeptical about this, but I actually really like it if that's the case. If, Microsoft has, let's just say People Can Fly, the ones who are making or working on Outriders, let's say that they were working on the Gears of War collection. I would like that, because then the coalition can focus all their resources on Gear 6, which I think would be absolutely great. I'm not sure if that's the case or, who knows? It's tough to say. But what I want to talk about is the title, okay? Once again, the title. We talked about with Gears 6 versus Gears of War 6. I believe it should be Gears of War 6 because, that has been the title of Gears is Gears of War. It's not Gears, right? I mean, we dub it Gears just for short, but the title should be Gears of War 6, not Gear 6. So let's talk about it from the perspective of the Gears of War collection. Should the Gears of War collection, should it be called the Gears of War collection, the Gears collection, or the Marcus Phoenix collection? Well, it's an interesting question because there's a few things to this, right? Number one, does the Gears of War collection include only the first 3 titles in Gears of War's history, that being Gears of War 1, 2, and 3? Or does it include Gears of War 1, 2, 3, and Gears of War Judgment? Or does it include Gears of War 2, Gears of War 3, and Gears of War Judgment? Because obviously we got Ultimate Edition, which was Gears of War 1's remaster. If you get Gears 1, 2, and 3, and that's it, then it should probably be called the Marcus Phoenix collection at that point. If it has Gears 2, 3, and Judgment, it should be called the Gears of War collection. And if it has Gears 1, 2, and 3, as well as Judgment, it also should be called the Gears of War collection. I don't think that it should be called the Gears collection. I think it should be called the Gears of War collection. That's number one. Number two is I don't think that they should have Gears of War 1 and have that replace Gears of War Judgment. I've said this many times, guys, that the Gears of War collection, Gears of War Judgment were the dark ages of Gears, in my opinion. I thought that it was, without question, the worst title in Gears of War's history. It just felt like the campaign was, like a round of horde mode. Like you were just going up against waves and waves of enemies. And some of the concepts that they had in Gears of War Judgment were interesting for sure. But I think a remaster of Gears of War Judgment would actually be something pretty special. Or it could be, right? It could kind of, they could add some things to Gears of War Judgment to make it kind of special. And we already had the remaster of Gears of War 1 with Gears of War Ultimate Edition. So I would rather have Gears of War Judgment in the Gears collection than Gears of War 1. If it were up to me, though, I would have all of it, right? I would have the first 3 Gears of War titles as well as Gears Judgment. But I really think that it needs to be called the Gears of War collection, right? I mean, there became this emphasis when Rod Ferguson got to the studio, or was the studio head at the Coalition, that it needs to be called Gears, not Gears of War. And I really did not like that whatsoever. I just think it took away that all those years of history of it being called Gears of War. And calling it Gears, that's what we call it, like, for short. Kind of like Call of Duty, we call it COD. But you don't change the title from, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 to COD Modern Warfare 2. You just don't do that. So it's like it's like a legacy thing. It's a history thing. So I'm going to say, definitely needs to be called the Gears of War collection. The only other way I could see it would be the Marcus Phoenix collection, but I just don't even really think, like, there's so much more power behind Gears of War than Marcus Phoenix. Like, Marcus Phoenix is a fantastic character, one of my favorite characters in a video game ever, but a lot of people don't even know who Marcus Phoenix is. So when they see Marcus Phoenix collection, some people would just kind of brush that by. But you see Gears of War collection, you know exactly what everyone's talking about. Everybody knows what Gears of War is. Not everyone plays it. Not everyone's going to know what the Marcus Phoenix collection is, though. But let me know, guys, what do you all think about this? Let me know in the comment section down below. Should it be the Gears of War collection, the Gears collection, or the Marcus Phoenix collection, or should it be something totally different altogether? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Gears of War collection content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. A Gears of War 6 theory that has, there's been and I'm going to be talking about more and more Gears of War 6 theories that are kind of roaming around the community, people talking about it, and especially as we're kind of on this hiatus with Gears of War, in terms of, not knowing exactly what the future holds and things of that nature. I want to talk about this, one theory that came up, and that being about the campaign revolving Gear 6. There's, a couple of things. Number one is that Gear 6 is going to go from a semi-open world scenario to a full open world. And I love this concept. I've been saying it for a while, that an open world, like a full open world scenario within Gears 6 would be something pretty special. I think when they teased the semi-open world in Gears 5, I really liked it. I thought it was pretty awesome, to say the least. But having a full open world could be something really, really special for sure. I think that there's a lot of possibilities there. I think it really helps build more lore and so on and so forth. Now, obviously, you don't want it to be, get to a point where you really get drawn out of the experience. I still think that there needs to be clear-cut, objectives and things of that nature in terms of the story. But I just think that having a full open world is really going to help build, more lore, narratives, things of that nature around Gears of War. The second one that I've been hearing a lot is about Kate Diaz as the character. Are we going to be playing as her? Are we going to play as JD? Are we going to play as Marcus? Who are we going to play as? Well, obviously, guys, JD's fate, we don't really know what's going to be canon, right? With the decision that you have to make between, Del and JD, who lives, who dies, how they're going to do that is going to be very interesting to me in terms of from a canon perspective. Where are they going to go there? Does the decision you made in Gears 5 going to kind of come to fruition in Gears 6, where whatever your decision was, then, that's how the story goes? That'd be really interesting, to say the least, if that's the direction they go. But the other one, I believe, is that I think Kate Diaz is probably going to be the character that we play as in Gears 6, right? It really just kind of makes more sense that way, that he would or she would be the main character that you play as in the title. If you don't play as her, maybe you're able to pick a character and they all have different kind of, they all are going down the same trajectory, but slightly different paths, obviously. That'd be interesting. You play as Marcus, even though he's maybe with, Kate Diaz. The timeline and his path is a little bit different. That'd be an interesting one. So it'll be interesting. I would say, though, if I had to say Kate Diaz is going to be the character. So if that's the case, a lot of people in the community are talking, is Kate Diaz actually the villain? Is she going to become the Swarm Queen? Or, is she going to be essentially, they kind of teased this in Gears 5 with the marketing and all that stuff. They were teasing that, hey, Kate Diaz maybe is actually, going to be taking over in terms of the Swarm, the Locust Horde. And I thought this was a really interesting concept, to say the least. Maybe we're playing the villain. I really kind of like that. Just to kind of change it up, obviously. I just think that it's an interesting concept. If the plan was, obviously, with Rod Ferguson stating that Gears 6, Gears 7, as well as a Gears of War movie were all confirmed before he left to go to Blizzard to work on Diablo, it would make some sense, or it kind of begs to question, maybe Kate Diaz is actually going to be the villain here. And that's it's an interesting thought. So do I think it's going to happen? Maybe, maybe not. I think it would be really interesting. One of the things that I was a little bit critical of with Gears 5 was that it was, the maps were so bright. And even though I like how they were bright, it kind of took away a little bit from the grittiness of the original, Gears of War games. And so I would love to see more gritty, a little bit darker. I think it needs to go back to that. And obviously I want it to be called Gears of War 6, not Gears 6. MD Ultra says, if JD is canon, I would like them to go back to JD. I want to see his perspective. Kate has been great, but if JD is canon, I want to be JD for this one. I'm fine with Kate, though. And that's an interesting one. And, it's interesting you bring this up, because I've been pretty critical of the Coalition's treatment of JD in Gears 5. They kind of made JD seem just like a total douchebag in Gears 5. Made you as the person playing the game not really like him as a character anymore. And I thought he was awesome in Gears of War 4. I loved JD in Gears of War 4. But then they kind of almost make you as a player, not necessarily turn on him, but you just don't like him as much as you did in Gears of War 4. At least that's the feeling I got from it. I'm fine with playing as JD if that's canon. I'm fine with playing as Kate Diaz. I think that she's a great character. I love Kate. I think overall, I really, really like her. I kind of wish that we would have stuck with JD a little bit longer before switching to Kate. I think that we should have had at least 2 or 3 games playing as JD before we moved over to Kate Diaz. I mean, I'm fine that they did it this way, but I would have preferred them to stick with JD a little bit longer than they did. But I digress. Kate Diaz, though, being the Swarm Queen would be something really interesting to me if we're playing as her and then you end up, like, becoming the head of the Swarm. I mean, that's a really, like I said, it's kind of a dark kind of narrative, but it's an interesting one to me, and I do like it actually quite a bit. And maybe you go back to playing as JD to take down the Swarm Queen, that being Kate Diaz, or who knows. It's interesting. There's a lot of theories here, and we're going to be talking a lot, guys, as time goes, about Gear 6 theories, to say the least, as we go here. I'm excited about that without question. I think it's going to be awesome. But I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. What are some of the Gears theories that you guys would like to see moving forward, or things that you guys think or you guys are hearing right now behind the scenes that would be something that you guys would like to see, or something that you don't want to see? Let me know what you guys think. MD Ultra says, imagine taking down Reyna and Kate. I mean, it would be, it's almost like it would come full circle, right? It's like we're playing as Kate Diaz, who's going to be, is kind of being groomed to become the Swarm Queen. She becomes a Swarm Queen, let's say at the end of Gear 6, and then we come back and we play as Marcus to finish him off kind of thing in Gear 7. Marcus, I do think his fate will be that he's ultimately going to be the one who dies. I do think that he is going to, his demise will come, potentially. Or JD does die, like canon will be, he dies in Gear 6, and Marcus goes out on a rampage, like a revenge tour like we've never seen before. So there's a couple of ways that this could go, and I'm excited, to say the least, to see where it goes, guys, because I think there's a number of ways it could go. I'm very excited about it, to say the least. But let me know what you guys think. Some of these Gears 6 theories, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Gears of War 6 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. I have a message for the Coalition. And I love the Coalition because they're essentially responsible for bringing back my favorite franchise of all time, that being Gears of War, bringing it back from a limbo state or a state of no return. When Gears of War Judgment came out, I believe it was the dark ages of Gears of War, and I've stated this multiple times. Even though everyone has different opinions about Gears Judgment, some people liked it, some people didn't. I think the overall notion, though, was that Gears of War Judgment was different, for sure, and there was a number of things about it that were different, but it was definitely a step in the wrong direction. For me, it felt like the campaign felt like it was a round of Horde mode, like you were just going up against like waves and waves of enemies. It felt very like, it felt very robotic and like mechanical, and just did not, it didn't hit for me, at least. Some of the mechanics were interesting. The way you switch your weapon, things of that nature was a little bit different, and I thought those were interesting concepts, but overall, I thought it was the dark ages of Gears of War. So what happened after that? Well, obviously Cliff Bleszinski, or Cliffy B, Epic Games was no longer going to create Gears of War titles, and then Microsoft forms the Coalition. Coalition comes out, brings us Gears of War Ultimate Edition, which was, of course, the Gears of War 1 remaster, which I thought was awesome. Loved, I thought it was, a great kind of bridge. It kind of was great because it was bringing us back to that, like, the old days of Gears of War. Then came Gears of War 4, which I thought was the best Gears title since Gears of War 3. So Gears of War 3 was my favorite Gears of War title ever. It still is to this day. I absolutely loved Gears of War 3. So it had a lot of living up to do, obviously, that being for the Coalition. But Gears of War 4 I thought was great. I mean, sure, it wasn't perfect, but none of these games, no game out there is perfect, guys. There's always things you can get better. And I think it's important that you look at the things that you're doing right, wrong, and what you can do better moving forward. And so I thought that the Gears of War 4, though, overall, from the perspective of esports to just, from a competition perspective to all the different modes that came with it, were fantastic. Like, I just thought as a package, Gears of War 4 was awesome. Then we get Gears 5, okay? And we've already talked about the title, guys. I didn't like the title being Gears 5, going away from Gears of War 5. I think it should have stayed as Gears of War instead of Gears. But that being said, Gears 5 I loved it. I loved Gears 5. Wasn't my favorite Gears of War title, but I loved Gears 5. Just, the things that they were trying to do, like making it a semi-open world campaign. So just a number of things that I thought that they were really trying to help transcend this third-person shooter. Not everyone liked it, though, right? A lot of people didn't like Gears 5. They thought that we were kind of going backwards in a number of areas. And, doesn't really matter what I think. What matters is, really what a lot of other people thought about that. And so, nonetheless, even though some people thought it was a step in the wrong direction, the Coalition are responsible for bringing us into some great years of Gears of War, with the Gears of War Ultimate Edition to Gears of War 4 to Gears 5 and the future, right? These guys are still working on Gears of War. I mean, we know they're working on Gears. Whether it's the Gears of War collection, whether it's Gears of War 6, they're working on Gears of War. I mean, they're called at Coalition Gears. So they are working on Gears of War. Now, sure, they're working on some other titles. They are helping out. Reportedly, they're helping out with the Perfect Dark reboot. They're also working on their own IP altogether. Now, what that is hard to say. Is it in the Gears of War universe, or is it, a completely new thing altogether? I think it's probably a completely new thing, which is fine. As long as they're working on the future of Gears of War, I'm totally fine with them working on their own projects. So, all of that history down. My message to the Coalition is this. Please, reach out to the community as to how we can help in any way with Gears of War moving forward. What I'm getting at is this. I've pledged my YouTube channel to Gears of War at this point. I've brought back my organization or my team to help with, within Gears of War, but also just brought it back because I thought that there was a real need here to get to kind of bridge the gap between where we are right now to Gears of War 6 or the Gears of War collection, whatever the future is. But please reach out to us to... Let's have better communication moving forward in terms of from the Coalition side to the community side as to how we can help. Like, I believe that content is kind of number one. Content is king for sure. So creating content is going to be huge. Whether we're talking from a stream perspective, whether we're talking from a, YouTube perspective, that creating content on YouTube, I think that's very important. But can we as the community put on our own tournaments? Like our own competitive tournaments, not like kind of like esports tournaments, but just community events and things of that nature. Can we do things like that? Will the Coalition help us with those things? I think that it's really important that we have this kind of communication with the Coalition, at least for a game plan moving forward. We're going to be talking about the Gears of War 3 remaster, or Delta Online, or A New Hope, that the community is coming up with, these different mods and things of that nature to kind of try to help bridge the gap as well. But I want us to have a better communication with the Coalition in terms of the next steps moving forward. I'm not asking for the Coalition to tell us, hey guys, we're working on Gears of War 6 right now. I'm fine with them keeping some secrecy. But how about right here, right now? What can we get from the Coalition that's going to help us as a community like stay sustainable until the next game comes out? Because I think that there is a very much so a need and a passionate fan base here. We saw this from the last tournament, that being the summer major for Gears Esports before it was shut down. We saw how passionate this community is. So what can we do to help? Like whatever it takes, like we want to do whatever it takes to see this thing forward and to make sure that this is a sustainable game, that being Gears of War 6 or the Gears of War collection or both for the future, right? We don't ever want to see this happen again, because right now we're once again in what you could consider a lull, a limbo state, or a dark age of Gears of War. Some people are saying this is the next dark age of Gears of War. I'm not going to go that far as to say it's the dark ages. I mean, you know, we could potentially dub it that at some point. I'm not going to say it right now because the Coalition, we haven't had that communication yet. If we don't have that communication and it's kind of like a real limbo state for a long period of time, then yeah, we could consider this to be the Dark Ages, or the Dark Ages 2.0 of Gears of War. But I think that as long as we as a community are able to put on some events, we're able to, you know, do our part to make sure that we're creating Gears of War content and things like this to make sure that this is sustainable moving forward. I don't think we're going to go into a Dark Ages, because I think that Gears of War Judgment and Gears 5 are two, I mean, it's not even close in my opinion. Gears 5 is so much better than Gears of War Judgment. It's not even close. So I think that as long as the community can do our part, and I already promised, guys, that we're going to do our part to really push this thing forward, because it's up to us now, right? It is up to us for the future Gears of War. It's up to us, as well as the Coalition, because they're the ones making the game. But it's up to us as the community. We really have like one more chance, in my opinion, to move the needle, so to speak, to make it so that Gears of War has a great, you know, future, has a great launch when it comes out. All these things. I mean, I want to see us have a great launch like Halo Infinite had. And if it makes, if we have to have like where it just they take their time, like 343 Industries took their time between Halo 5 to Halo Infinite, I'm fine with that. But please, Coalition, please, I'm pleading with you guys to have some communication with the community. I think it's so important. We see so many games out there and so many developers that don't have proper communication with the community, and it becomes an issue. Call of Duty's having these issues with the Call of Duty League. Just have communication, proper communication, and I think that you almost have to have like people in the community that can help be voices for the community. I'm not saying that I have to be that person. I'm not saying that, you know, I think that people like Colin Clark or The Crow, he should be a voice for the community, right? Shadows, he's been creating content around Gears of War for years. He should be a voice that's in the room. And maybe, just maybe, the Coalition is going to, when they announce Gears of War 6 or the Gears of War collection, maybe they're going to have a round table of creators and pro players and things of that nature to really pick their brains and figure out, hey, this is what we got to do. I'll tell you, a team that is doing an incredible job at this is Stormgate and the guys over at Frost Giant Studios. So Stormgate is going to be a StarCraft 2 spiritual successor, RTS. Obviously, Blizzard has had issues, right, on a number of fronts, communicating with the community. And we've seen what's happened now with StarCraft. Even though StarCraft is still a great title and such, Stormgate is coming. And when that game comes out, I think a lot of people from you know, StarCraft are going to move over to Stormgate. And Stormgate has already had incredible, impeccable communication with the community at this point in time. And the game has only just been announced. So now obviously we'll see what happens as time goes. Are they going to keep that communication up? I think there's a good chance they will, though. So I think that we need this with Gears of War. We absolutely need this, guys, with the Coalition to really see this thing move forward. So my message to the Coalition is, please reach out to us as the community. While we're in this state currently where Gears esports has been shut down, there's no longer support on the Gears 5 servers. We're in the dark right now. Please, what can we do to help? Can we put on tournaments? Or, you know, community events? Can we, and have like the blessing from the Coalition? Can we, you know, obviously creating content and things of that nature, I think is king. Like, content is king, 100%. We need to be creating content, guys, whether that's from a stream perspective, a YouTube perspective, and you know, I'm creating content every day on YouTube, but it's going to take more than just one person or a couple of people like Shadows, or, you know, it's going to take all of us to either create content or to support your favorite content creators and your favorite streamers. That's what it's going to take. Every number matters when it comes to this thing. Okay, Gears 5, when you look at the numbers, we don't really get incredible viewership right here, right now. From a stream perspective, the numbers are on YouTube, I think, are fine, but like every person that we can introduce to Gears of War and get to try it, guys, this is, if you really think about it, when you talk about the greatest like third-person shooters of our time, Gears of War is in the top 10, and it's not even a question, okay? Think of it like this. I mean, I believe it's the greatest third-person shooter ever made. People will argue that Fortnite, PUBG, some of these other titles are better, okay? From a viewership perspective, as far as from a fan base perspective, competitive perspective, Fortnite is huge. It's transcending the space. It's transcending gaming more than anything, but Gears of War has so much potential, so much untapped potential. It's crazy to me. Like, even if you guys are creating content and it's like just gameplay, put it out there, put it out on YouTube, stream on Twitch, don't show webcam or anything. Just create content, right? The more people who are doing it, the more this thing becomes infectious and more people start doing it, right? And I think that there's so much opportunity here in Gears of War. I truly believe that. But let me know what you guys think. And I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. And if anyone from the Coalition wants to come on the show or wants to speak privately or just, talk to the community at large, please reach out, like at any time. I am more than willing and happy to talk to anybody over at the Coalition about how we can move this thing forward. Please. Let's grow this thing. Let's blow this thing up. Whatever it takes, whatever you guys need over at the Coalition, whatever it takes, let's make it happen. MD Ultra says, we as one is what it is. We're going to take over. I still play Gears 5 even now. All we need to do is believe. Look, man, that's the kind of positivity that we need in the community. 100%. That's what we need. We need positivity over everything. And I think I truly believe that we've learned our lesson as a community, or at least I really hope we have. The community, the backlash towards the Coalition for every little thing that would come up, was so unhealthy, for the community as well as for just the Coalition and for the game in general, for Gears of War. It was just so, it was terrible. Like, every time the Coalition would do something or say something, there was so much backlash from the community. And now that Gears of War is in a limbo state at this point, now I think there's a ton of question marks now in terms of what the future is. And I think a lot of people are like, wow, maybe we shouldn't have said those things. Maybe we should have been a little bit, less harsh on the Coalition. And look, guys, and I'm not saying that the Coalition is without fault here, but I'm saying that there are ways that we can go about and say things to the Coalition. But I think it's really important that there's a healthy relationship between the Coalition and the community. Because I'll tell you this, if I'm a developer of the Coalition and all I hear all the time is just backlash and bashing of what I do for a living and my God-given talent to create, this video game and such, that's a passion, and all I get is hatred and a bunch of, trash talk, that's going to unmotivate me. It will unmotivate me to do things. Now, my personality is the type where I'll hear what other people are saying and it motivates me. Like, if you're talking trash to me, I'm going to prove you wrong. But not everybody's like that. Some people, I'll give you an example. If someone was trash talking Michael Jordan, he would take it so personally. He would take it so unbelievably personally that he would purposely come after you on the court, and he would rip your heart out. He was a stone cold killer, right? I thought that Kevin Durant was that before this year happened, or this run in the playoffs happened. I thought he was kind of like that. I think that there are other guys that are killers in certain ways. I've said for a long time, LeBron, I felt was someone who would take motivation from certain things. Steph Curry is a guy who, I felt was so like, he, every time that he hits a 3-pointer, it's like a dagger in your heart. Like it would just hurt you so badly. But yes, I think that, if I'm a developer and I'm hearing all of this, it would be really tough. Very tough. So what I'm getting at here, guys, is this, okay? We as the community have got to be better at our communication. You can be upset about something, but it's the way you say it, right? I mean, it's like anything in life, right? And I understand, like, we're behind our keyboards and we can say whatever we want to really anybody on the internet, okay? But I think there's a way that you have to say it, and that's something that we have failed as a community in Gears of War. We have failed in that way, okay? So let's get better. Let's get better about it. And I think that we will, now that we see kind of what has happened. Not everything that we're doing is for sure, or a sure thing. Obviously now we are in this tough state with Gears of War. And so I think it's up to us, like I said, to have better communication with the coalition moving forward. I want to talk about this talk of A New Hope, the talk of Delta Online. These are some really interesting concepts, guys. Very interesting concepts, because we've got some guys in the community that are working very, very hard behind the scenes to make Delta Online. So I've already gone over this before, but I want to go over it again. So let's do it. Delta Online, guys, this is a Gears of War 3 PC experience. And I want to talk, I mean, this is essentially Gears of War 3 remastered. I mean, is basically what it is. They're like modding this to a way based on Gears of War 3, which is my favorite Gears of War title ever. So to me, guys, since we didn't get an announcement this year for Gears of War 6 or the Gears of War collection, this is going to be almost like that bridge from basically, when this, it's obviously in private testing right now, but from now to whenever the next Gears title gets announced. Because what this is, guys, is Delta Online is got online multiplayer, player profile progression support, tweakable video settings, customizable key bindings, improved mouse and keyboard support, UI HUD support for higher resolution, secondary tuning set. This is something awesome, guys. I mean, Delta Online is a work-in-progress project which brings Gears of War 3 to the PC with support for online multiplayer across the Horde, Beast, and various versus game types. I've said this for a long time, that Beast mode is something that really should have come back, in my opinion. I loved Beast mode. I think Beast mode should have returned with Gears of War 4, and even Gears 5. I would have loved to see Beast mode return. I just thought it was really cool to be able to play as the Swarm in a Horde mode kind of setting. I thought it was really awesome. But this is really awesome, guys. And A New Hope is another one. These guys are, Terry HB and these guys are working on this. And this is like pure passion, guys. I mean, this is like a passion project for these guys. It's absolutely awesome. The graphics, from a graphical perspective, but just the fact that this is going to be something that can kind of bridge the gap between now what we've got right now to the Gears of War collection or Gears of War 6 is awesome. There's a leveling plus a medal system, lobby browser, unlocked FPS, full KB plus M support with rebinds. There's new game modes like Squad TDM, I mean, that's awesome, man. It's absolutely awesome what these guys are doing. And so what I would say, guys, without question, is I would go ahead and join the Gears PC Discord for sure for Delta Online plus A New Hope. And so Terry, just as an example, this guy is the Discord admin. He's also a Twitch streamer, but I love that these guys are doing this. And so I'm a massive shout out to them for bringing back Gears of War 3 in kind of like a remastered way, since we haven't gotten a Gears of War 3 remaster yet. My favorite Gears of War of all time. Going to be able to play it, guys, on PC, and it's very exciting. It's just good that there's people in the community like this that are going to be trying to push on in their ways, like, right? So we're all kind of trying to, people who are passionate about this thing are all trying to do their thing, right, in order to sustain this. So let me give you an example. So I'm creating content every single day on my YouTube channel, streaming weekly on Twitch. Terry is a streamer. He's also created a Gears PC Discord, and he's working on A New Hope as well as Delta Online. Then you've got guys like Shadows. You've got Shadows, you got Moo Moo Milk, you've got all these different guys who are creators who are creating content. Shadows is streaming a ton, which is absolutely awesome. What I'm getting at is everyone's going to do their part, but we need more people. We need more people doing this. So, like I said, if you create content around Gears of War if you love Gears. If you don't create content and you don't stream, support your favorite streamers, your favorite content creators, because that's what's really going to push these things forward. Whether you're talking from Gears PC, like A New Hope and Delta Online, to, Gears 5, to the future of Gears of War, that's what we got to do. That's what we have to do, guys. There is no question about it. That's what we got to do. But what do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comment section down below. What do you guys think about Gears of War 3 Remastered? That being Delta Online, New Hope. What do you guys think about this? What are your thoughts? Definitely join the Discord. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I'm going to be creating more and more content around this, that being Delta Online and A New Hope, for sure, moving forward. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And for more Delta Online, New Hope content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. I want to say thank you so much to all of you for all the new followers, all the new subscribers. Here's how you can connect. You guys can join the Gears community, guys. You guys can join my YouTube channel, which you're going to be getting emojis, emoticons, things of that nature that you can use in live streams, that you can use in the comment section, for sure. But really, the best way that you guys can support me is just by liking the content on YouTube. You guys can, of course, subscribe on YouTube, and following on Twitch, guys, is absolutely huge. Subscribing on Twitch, if you want to take that go the extra level, is massive. And I appreciate each and every one of you that are doing this. It absolutely helps out in a massive way as we are trying to push Gears of War forward. That being said, though, I want to say once again, thank you so much, as always, for joining me for this episode of the Gears Cast. MD Ultra says, glad I caught a live stream from you. I put a tweet on to you, by the way. You the real one, man. You're the real one, MD. I appreciate you, man. I will definitely check out your tweet on Twitter without question, man. But I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you so much, as always, for joining me. Like I said, guys, stay positive. Subscribe if you guys are new. Just keep grinding. And as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.